How's it going, everybody? Many of you are on day 1, day 2, or about to start lockdown and isolation. So I imagine that you're in preparation and getting ready to make sure that you have yourself entertained, energized, and focused through the next sort of 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I have been inundated with requests for articles and talks and Skype calls in trying to figure out what next is and what next looks like. So I've been deep in research, reading, and watching videos constantly from all sorts of different media. And I've picked up 5 different trends that I'm loving, and I'm watching them happen right in front of my eyes. The first one, and I'll start with that because I named this video around it, are you ready for Zoomlebrities? And what Zoomlebrities are people who are going to become sort of celebrities on Zoom, because I feel that Zoom and Skype and GoToWebinar and all these sort of platforms are going to be creating their own set of stars, their own set of thought leaders. And I imagine those platforms will start morphing and merging into other platforms so they're more interactive. So almost like a YouTube and Zoom mixed. I imagine that's going to be coming. So we'll have Zoomlebrities. And I spend my whole day on Zoom, but I haven't quite become a Zoomlebrity yet. But I think that's something that definitely could be coming. The second trend that I've seen is really sparked by Peter Diamandis' tweet that he put out. And Peter Diamandis is an incredible entrepreneur, founder of Singularity University, and I'm a big fan of his. He's written 3 New York Times bestsellers, and he said a tweet that for the very first time in our reality, we have one enemy. And we've never, ever had one enemy. And the thing about one enemy is that it brings about hyper collaboration. That means that every scientist, every lab, every doctor is focused on bringing this one solution, this one vaccine, this one shot that will be able to help humanity as we know it. But this one enemy also has brought about an incredible level of paradox, because this invisible enemy that we are all fighting and scared of and fearful of is brought about this paradox of hyper-global and hyper-local. And if you think about it, it's all over the world, and it's also right here if I touch you or you touch me, or if I touch something that has it. We're seeing it happen all around the world, but you could just touch one thing and you could get it as well. That hyper-local and hyper-global and hyper-local has never really been seen like this. It's also quite abstract because we kind of hear about it and see it, and then all of a sudden we know somebody who has it. It becomes really local and personal. This morning I woke up to a message from a friend of mine in Dubai, and he had somebody in his house that's been tested positive for it. And now he has to go and figure out if he's positive for it as well. And so it really landed home for me this morning because I know this person who's got it, and hopefully they're going to be okay. And this virus can bring about the worst in us and the best in us. The sort of, we can become really angry and fend for ourselves, or we can really start to help other people. And we're seeing both. We're seeing some incredible levels of kindness, and we're also seeing some ridiculous sort of selfish processes that are happening. The second trend, or third trend that I'm seeing, is the death of the Industrial Revolution. For the longest time, we have been sick and tired of the dirty Industrial Revolution, the oil-driven sort of idea, the dirty coal that was creating the power, and most of us didn't know how to go about getting rid of it. Now, we have been forced into long-termism. We've been forced into getting away from short-termism, from profit only, to purpose, people, planet, and prosperity. And so now all of a sudden we have changed and shifted because we've been forced to. I was speaking to a friend of mine this morning, Peter DeToy, and he was saying that he thought that sort of the weather changes would bring about all this chaos. But now all of a sudden the virus has come as a warning for us to be able to get ready for possible sort of climate catalysm that could have happened. So this has been a kind of a preparation for us to get ready for that. The next one I'm seeing is the end of populism, the sort of quietening down of the Trump, the Brexit, the EFF, and the people that were all about divisive politics are all very quiet. They all have very, very little to say, and they've all kind of disappeared because now all of a sudden we all have to unify to try and solve this scenario. And I've also started to see, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, is the downscaling of the oil industry. We're starting to see that this flight shaming that I even spoke about a little bit a couple of weeks ago, about the fact that Greta was talking about flight shaming, and I was traveling around the world, and I kind of knew it wasn't the best thing I could do, but I didn't have a choice around it. But we are really seeing us having to rethink flying airports and what they're used for, the incredible growth of the airline industry, and really start to see the beginning of us start to practice new ways of interaction through digital, through connecting socially, as well as through work, going on dates and doing all these sorts of things much more on a digital level. I'm still researching and I'm still going through building the 2 new talks. I've built 2 new talks. One's called Future Now, to get the emotional state ready. And the other one is called Adaptive Resilience, of how we can go about building 4 new scenarios of societies around us, and how these 4 new scenarios are very much linked to how we were brought up as human beings, and how we need to heal our internal perspective in order to be able to create a brand new society around us. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're getting ready for the isolation. I am here at my parents' farm still, and I will be for a while to come. So having a great time here in nature. Hope you're happy and hope you're safe.